Hey everybody, welcome to Think Twice, a channel where we discuss comic books, movies, and television, and draw some of your favorite characters. I'm your host, Kevin Hart. Today we'll be talking all about Daredevil Born Again, Season 2. Stick around to the end of the episode, see how our drawing of Bullseye came out, and if you like what you see, subscribe to the channel for more content. It is finally here, Season 2 of Daredevil Born Again on Disney+. I was very excited for the show. Daredevil is one of my favorite characters, and I have been eagerly anticipating the continuation of this show for an entire year since last March of 2025. I thought the cliffhanger that the first season left off on was kind of like Marvel Studios' television version of Infinity War into Endgame, where they made us wait. We had blue balls for an entire year, and now we finally got to see the payoff of the show. And did it live up to the hype? I am mixed on that. I'm torn about it. The good is really good, and the flaws kind of stick out like a sore thumb for me personally. Season 1 had a ton of issues creatively with the team trying to overhaul the show from a totally different tone from the Netflix series. They were going more comedic, a little bit more lighthearted, watered down, Disney-fied version, which a lot of fans would definitely notice and complain about. And they were smart enough to bring back the original cast members of the Netflix series and kind of keep it in the same vein. I thought this could have been an opportunity to return to their roots. And unfortunately, I don't think it ever really hit the mark of either my high expectations or what the original Netflix series was able to accomplish. But let's start with the good. Black suit, double D'd up, Daredevil. He looks absolutely mint in this series. I definitely preferred over that red suit from season 1, Born Again. This is a really cool addition to the Daredevil suits from the whole series. Probably one of my favorites. The double D's alone really scores fan favorite points. And I love that it kind of serves the purpose of the story, that Daredevil's kind of on the run. He kind of just like hit it with a matte black spray paint. The Dastardly Do-Gooder, which was from the BB Report, which definitely felt like a Stan Lee word balloon blurb. I loved that. The show is definitely visually and tonally in kin to that Netflix series, which I definitely appreciate. This over season 1 is definitely a better shot show. Like cinematically and visually, there was so many creative and well thought out shots that were absolutely just beautiful to witness. Two major things that stood out to me was Daniel and BB's relationship throughout the series. I thought that was one of the most gripping and entertaining aspects of the entire season. You're really rooting for these guys as a couple, which, you know, it's kind of doomed from the start. We saw in season 1 that Daniel kind of bites off more than he can chew. Very likable, naive kid that's just kind of like chasing success. And I really, really liked his story arc through this series, that he was able to do the right thing by the end. And oh God, his sacrifice and his death in the show absolutely tore me apart. I thought BB could have done a little bit more to help him out though, knowing the gravity of the situation that he's in. But you reap what you sow, and unfortunately, rest in peace, Daniel. He was a great character. I really, really enjoyed Michael Gandolfini as the actor and his portrayal of this character. Very, very likable aspect of the show. And surprisingly, another likable aspect of the show is Wilson Bethel as Bullseye. Who knew that we would be rooting for this guy? He kind of has a story arc of redemption throughout the show, that he's kind of like this wayward, lost soul that is just kind of surrounded by trauma, used as the scapegoat by those in power, the corrupt Kingpin and Vanessa Fisk, using him as a ploy. And every scene he was in, I was shocked to feel like I was rooting for him, even though he's definitely a psychopath in the comic books. I think they could have leaned more into that of how crazy he is. But I do want to say, I want to see his comic book accurate suit going forward in season 3. They did an okay job with the costume. I get it. It's more grounded. They tried their best with the Target motif. There's blue in there, kind of nodding to his characters. I don't know if you notice in every scene he's in, the blue color kind of backtracks to his childhood trauma and everything. So that's a cool little touch. But to be honest, I think he has one of the more visually striking suits in comic books, and that evil grin. You just know that anything in his hands is a weapon, and he's just this menace, this maniacal, psychotic killer that cannot be trusted. So I'm kind of shocked to see that they're kind of making him an anti-hero, and we're rooting for him a little bit more. That was one of my favorite scenes, was Bullseye in that diner scene. I'm always a sucker for a diner scene, but when you got a diner scene where he knows that the threat is coming in the anti-vigilante task force, it's about to go down. He's got spoons, knives, forks, anything, just plates, anything at his disposal is definitely a weapon. I thought that was a really cool scene. I like the story themes of good versus evil. You could definitely tell that there was two factions emotions. Felt really relevant to how society is today, with corruption and abuse of power versus the little guys trying to endure and expose the truth. I was also really happy to see at least 3 out of the 4 of the Defenders from the Netflix series return. By the end of season 1, I knew that there had to be a team up. I was really hoping for Punisher and Spider-Man and the Defenders to come back and give Matt Murdock a hand. Jessica Jones was obviously the one that got the most screen time. She's great, Kristen Ritter. Really liked season 1 of that show. The rest of it was a little bit harder to watch, but that first season of Jessica Jones is absolutely phenomenal. And I'm glad to see that they addressed the canon, that these characters are still in the MCU. I was really curious to see, is Danny Rand, I know a lot of people hated him in his show, but I had a soft spot for that show, and I really hope that he is now become the protector of Kunlun and the immortal Iron Fist, and hope he's channeling his chi. I definitely want to see more of him, especially with Shang-Chi in the Marvel Universe. I think that could be a really cool team up. And also just Power Man and Iron Fist is always fun to see. Luke Cage is back. Hoping to see a lot more of them going forward in either season 3 or the MCU in general. Now let's address some of the things that, not bad, but things that kind of stood out to me as needing improvement. I thought the pacing was a little bit slow at times. I thought the writing wasn't as strong as the original Netflix series or even season 1. To my surprise, I actually enjoyed the first season a little bit more. I thought there's a little bit more action, and this is just a personal preference of mine, but I really cannot stand the week-to-week format. I know it's kind of the best of both worlds for those that want to see it each week, and those that can either wait to binge it, but then you forget a lot of what happens week to week, so I try my best to just binge watch the show where I can. And as much as I love Vincent D'Onofrio as Mayor Wilson Fisk, the Kingpin, he is phenomenal. He's great. Do not get me wrong. But I think after 5 seasons of the Kingpin, it's getting a little stale. The jig is up. Daredevil's greatest villains are Bullseye and the Kingpin. There's no question about it. But he's got a few other rogues that I think we can have a little bit more room to explore going forward. I definitely want to see a proper Owl. As a kid, that character always, just his look alone, intrigued me. I thought he was one of the very cool, like outlandish but believable villains that was addressed in the original Netflix series, but apparently he had a son, Owlsley. So hoping that we can see a little bit more of that going forward. I know that the Gladiator was in season 1. There was even stilts in the background. Are we getting a stilt man? Yes or no? I want to see stilt man. Leapfrog was in She-Hulk, so that was just kind of whatever. But, you know, I want to see Mr. Fear. That's who I thought this new character, Shaggy from Ruby Roo, Matthew Lillard, he joins the cast as this new character, Mr. Charles, and he's just kind of in the show and then goes nowhere, but I guess they're setting him up for season 3 or something. He was charismatic. I really liked his acting, but the character of itself just kind of, for me, felt very random. And I hate to admit, but the Kingpin tearing up, murking citizens in Daredevil mask protesting was one of my favorite scenes next to that Bullseye scene. I just thought that it landed, and it was visually striking. It was, you just saw the pure evil and brute strength of the Kingpin. I think that's a very big reveal that Matt Murdock outed himself with his identity to the public. I wonder what the repercussions of that are going to be going forward now that he's in jail. I'm very excited to see that in season 3. Is this going to tie into Spider-Man Brand New Day or the Punisher One Less Kill? We know that Punisher and Spider-Man July will be teaming up in that movie. Will we see Daredevil in that? I'll likely be doing a spoiler review of Spider-Man Brand New Day in July, so keep an ear out for that, where we'll be drawing Spider-Man or Scorpion. So stay tuned for that video. I think the show is definitely one of the stronger MCU television shows, and it's always solid no matter what. Despite me feeling mixed on the season, I think there's definitely room for improvement. There's obviously plot points that I thought would be addressed by the end of season 2, but we're clearly seeing going into season 3 between the anti-vigilante task force with this guy Powell. I hated that guy. I also hated the psychiatrist Heather. She is absolutely bonkers crazy. She's wearing the Muse mask. Is she gonna become Muse? I'm not even too sure, but her and Buck were kind of doing this like weird role play thing. These bad guys really, they gotta get what's coming to them. I also thought Vanessa's death, I get where they were coming from, but I thought that it was very weirdly handled. It was shocking to see the glass in her head, and then how they kind of addressed Kingpin's humanity was nice, but now he's got nothing left to live for, so obviously he went full-blown evil. So I'm just curious to see what else they have left to squeeze out of the Kingpin. I know that Kingpin hasn't really seen Spider-Man yet, so are they going to kind of bring that element to Spider-Man Brand New Day? I guess we'll have to wait and see, but all in all, despite the mixed feelings, I definitely enjoyed season 2 of Daredevil Born Again. I'm very excited for season 3. I'm hoping that they can tighten it up a little bit and keep this show to the caliber of the Netflix series. What was good was really good, the visual and the tones, and what was lacking was pretty evident, so I'm going to give this a 7.5 out of 10. I was leaning towards 8, but I think rewatchability-wise, I'd actually prefer watching season 1, believe it or not. What did you guys think about Daredevil Born Again season 2? Let us know in the comments below. Anyways, that about wraps up today's episode of Think Twice. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, comment below to join the discussion, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more videos. We'll see you next time. Peace!